Hello, my friends, and welcome back. It is so wonderful to have you here today. Let us take a deep breath together. Now imagine a dangerous world ruled entirely by powerful kings. In this dark world, one brave woman decided to stand alone. She wore a heavy crown in a kingdom far across the ocean. Yet her brave choices shaped the very ground of America we walk on today. Today we are going to hear her incredible story. So relax your mind and let this journey begin. If you enjoy learning through stories, please subscribe and leave a friendly comment below. Let us go back to a time long before modern cities paved roads and democratic elections. Imagine a country deeply divided and full of fear. This was England in the middle of the 16th century. At that time, people did not vote for their leaders like we do today. Power was passed down through royal families by blood. The ruler wore the crown, a heavy circle of gold that meant absolute power over everyone. Whoever held the crown held the life and death of the whole nation. But passing this golden circle from one person to another was not always peaceful. When a powerful king named Henry VIII died, he left behind a broken and confused country. His children did not bring peace. Instead, they brought more pain. The land was torn apart by deep disagreements about religion and power. Neighbors fought against neighbors. Old friends became bitter enemies. It was a time of dark shadows. It was a time of harsh punishments. It was a time of constant worry for the ordinary people working in the fields and towns. The country was bleeding, and nobody knew how to stop it. Before our brave woman became queen, two of her half-siblings ruled the country. Their time in power was short, violent, and full of extreme changes. First, a young boy became king, but he was very sick and died early. Then, an angry queen took control of the government. She forced everyone to follow her strict rules. If people disagreed with her, they faced terrible consequences. Fires burned in the public squares. Fear lived inside every single home. During these dark years, a young princess named Elizabeth was trying simply to survive. She was the daughter of the old king, but many powerful men hated her. They saw her as a dangerous threat to the throne. Because of this, she was locked away in a cold, dark prison called the Tower of London. She was alone, terrified, and constantly watched by guards. Every single day, she woke up not knowing if she would live to see the sunset. The people of England felt the exact same way about their own lives. They were tired, scared, and waiting desperately for a real change. Then the dark clouds finally began to break. In the cold winter of November 1558, the angry queen died. Messengers rode fast on horses through the quiet countryside to find the young princess. They found Elizabeth sitting quietly under a large oak tree. They bowed low to the ground and told her the news. At 25 years old, Elizabeth was now the official Queen of England and Ireland. She would wear the heavy crown. She would rule the land from 1558 all the way until 1603. Her remarkable reign lasted for 44 years. When she finally walked through the streets of London, the ordinary people cheered with wild joy. They saw a bright, intelligent, and strong young woman. She brought a feeling of stability to a land that had only known chaos. She brought a sense of hope to a people who were entirely tired of crying. The dark years were finally over, and a beautiful new dawn was breaking across the kingdom. She had the crown, and she had the love of her people. But here is where it gets interesting. As soon as Elizabeth put the crown on her head, a massive new problem started. In the 16th century, people firmly believed that a woman could not lead a country alone. They thought women were naturally too weak to make big political decisions. Let us think about a young, successful woman today running a large, modern company. People might still ask her constantly about her personal life and when she will get married. Back then, this social pressure was 1,000 times worse. Society had a very strict rule. A queen needed a king to guide her. They believed that only a man could command an army, manage the money, or protect the borders. Therefore, everyone expected Elizabeth to choose a husband very quickly. A husband would automatically take the real power. He would make all the important choices for the nation. She would just be his quiet wife. This was the normal way of the world, and no one ever questioned it. The powerful men in her government desperately wanted to control her. They truly thought they could do this easily by finding her a strong, wealthy husband. They did not understand the brilliant mind of their new queen at all. She was not like anyone they had ever met before. Very soon, the political pressure became incredibly heavy. The English Parliament, which was the group of men who made the laws, officially asked her to marry. They demanded a royal baby. A baby would keep the country perfectly stable after she eventually died. At the exact same time, expensive letters and rich gifts arrived from all over Europe. Kings, princes, and rich nobles from different countries wanted to marry the young Queen of England. One of these important men was King Philip II of Spain. Spain was the most powerful, wealthy, and dangerous country in the entire world at that time. King Philip was very confident. He thought Elizabeth would easily and happily agree to marry him. A marriage to Spain would bring a huge amount of money and strong military protection to England. For a normal, fearful leader, this was a perfect deal. The whole country waited anxiously. The men in the government whispered constantly in the long halls. They watched her every single move. They waited for her to choose a man, give up her supreme power, and act like a traditional, obedient woman. The tension in the royal palace was high. Everyone was completely sure she would pick a husband soon. But Elizabeth had a completely different, brilliant plan. She knew exactly what a royal marriage meant for her future. If she married an Englishman, the other powerful local families would become jealous and start fighting each other. If she married a foreign king like Philip, a stranger would completely control her beloved England. She absolutely refused to let a foreign family or any ambitious man take away her hard-earned power. So she did something that completely shocked the whole world. Early in her rule, in the year 1559, she stood in front of the powerful men of the Parliament. She looked straight at them with clear, steady, and fearless eyes. She did not cry, and she did not ask for their traditional advice. Instead, she gave them a very firm final answer. She completely rejected King Philip. She rejected all the other princes. She decided to stay single for her entire life. She used her single status as a highly clever political tool. By staying single, she kept all the foreign kings hoping for a marriage, but she never actually gave them control. She kept the absolute power firmly in her own two hands. She looked at the shocked men in the room and delivered a truly famous message. She told them she was already happily married. She showed them her royal ring and declared that she had married the kingdom and all the people of England. But wait, there is more. Once the great marriage question was finally settled, the country could breathe easily. It was like a warm, bright spring arriving after a terrible freezing winter. With their brilliant queen firmly in control, a beautiful new time began. Historians today call this the Elizabethan era. It was a true golden age for the entire nation. The busy streets of London filled with lively music, beautiful poetry, and wonderful stories. Ordinary people went to special wooden theaters to watch amazing plays together. A brilliant man named William Shakespeare began to write his famous stories. He wrote deeply about love, power, and human feelings. Another poet named Christopher Marlowe wrote beautiful words that people still read today. Art and culture grew faster than ever before. For the first time in many long years, the people felt completely safe. They felt deeply proud of their peaceful nation. They felt inspired by their strong, independent female leader. She loved loud music. She loved energetic dancing. And she strongly encouraged her people to create beautiful things. The dark, bloody shadows of the past were completely gone. The country was finally healing and growing. But the Queen's grand vision went far beyond the quiet towns and green fields of England. She looked out at the wide, deep, and endless ocean. She wanted her country to discover new lands and find new trade routes. She encouraged brave, adventurous sailors to explore the unknown world. These brave sailors were called explorers. An explorer is simply a person who travels to places that are completely new and undiscovered. One of these famous men was Sir Francis Drake. He sailed his small wooden ship all the way around the entire world. It was a highly dangerous but incredible journey. Another very important explorer was a wealthy man named Sir Walter Raleigh. With the Queen's special permission, he sent English ships far across the dark, dangerous Atlantic Ocean. In the year 1585, his men finally landed on a wild, beautiful island called Roanoke. This was the very first attempt by the English to build a new home in North America. They wanted to start a colony, which is a small town controlled by a powerful country far away. Now think about the map of the United States of America today. On the eastern coast, there is a very famous state with a rich history. That state is Virginia. If you live in America or study its history, you know this place well. Have you ever wondered where that beautiful name actually came from? It is a direct historical connection to our story today. Sir Walter Raleigh named this vast green land to honor his beloved leader. Because she bravely refused to marry any king, people everywhere called her the Virgin Queen. So the lovely name Virginia simply means the land of the Virgin Queen. Every single time someone says that name today, they are remembering her incredible power. They are remembering her brave, independent choice to stand alone in a world of men. The very first seeds of modern America were planted during her golden rule. It was a time of great, wild dreams and endless possibilities. The kingdom was rich, successful, and perfectly peaceful. The English people felt safe and happy on their island home. But across the dark water, a terrible storm was slowly gathering. The powerful King of Spain had not forgotten her harsh rejection. He was secretly preparing a massive fleet of warships. What would happen when the most dangerous military force in the world attacked this peaceful golden age? In the summer of 1588, the dark storm finally arrived at the shores of England. King Philip of Spain was incredibly angry. He had never forgiven Elizabeth for refusing his marriage offer. He also hated that English explorers were attacking his ships and taking his gold. So he decided to take his heavy revenge. He built a massive, terrifying naval force. This giant fleet was called the Spanish Armada. It contained 130 huge warships. These heavy ships carried 30,000 trained soldiers and thousands of deadly guns. They sailed slowly and confidently up the coast. Their clear goal was to completely destroy the Queen. They wanted to conquer the island and end the Golden Age forever. The ordinary people of England were absolutely terrified. They only had a small navy with much smaller ships. It looked like a completely impossible situation. We often love stories where a small, brave hero fights a giant enemy. We call this a classic underdog story. This was a real, terrifying underdog story, and the odds were completely against the small country. Everyone in Europe thought England would be crushed in just a few days. But the English sailors had a few secret advantages. Their small wooden ships were incredibly fast. They could turn quickly in the narrow, dangerous waters. The Spanish ships were built like giant floating castles. They were very heavy and very slow to steer. When the two navies finally met in the cold sea, a noisy battle began. The brave English sailors used their great speed. They darted in close, fired their guns, and quickly sailed away. They completely confused the slow Spanish commanders. But the real secret to their amazing victory was not just speed. Something wild and unexpected happened. A terrible, violent storm suddenly blew across the dark ocean. High winds and massive waves violently smashed into the heavy Spanish ships. Many huge warships crashed deeply into the dangerous rocks along the coast. The mighty Spanish armada was broken and defeated. The small, quick underdog had actually beaten the greatest empire in the whole world. The impossible victory shocked every single leader in Europe. While this dangerous battle happened on the water, the Queen was not hiding. She did not stay safely in her comfortable palace. She rode a beautiful white horse to a military camp called Tilbury. She went there to visit her waiting soldiers. She wore shiny metal armor over her white dress. She looked completely fearless. She knew her soldiers were tired and scared of the huge Spanish army. She wanted to give them real courage. She stood tall in front of the quiet men. She spoke to them with a loud, clear voice. She did not apologize for being a female leader. Instead, she completely owned her power. She delivered a message that history would never forget. She told them she knew she had the body of a weak, feeble woman. Feeble simply means lacking physical strength. But then she looked fiercely at her brave men and delivered the ultimate truth. She proudly declared, "I have the heart and stomach of a king." And so, my friends, we reach the end of our journey today. The story of the Virgin Queen is not just a lesson about old battles or heavy crowns. It is a powerful story about absolute belief. She took a deeply broken country and turned it into a brilliant empire. She achieved this while almost everyone around her doubted her strength. She always chose courage over fear. Now, let us look quietly at your own personal journey. Have you ever felt surrounded by doubt? Maybe learning the English language feels like a massive ocean you must cross. Trying to build a new life, chase a big personal dream, or succeed in a fast-moving society can feel very overwhelming. You might sometimes feel exactly like that small ship facing a giant storm. But I want you to remember Elizabeth. She stood firmly in a world of harsh judgment and endless pressure. She completely refused to let other people write her story. You are doing the exact same brave thing right now. Every new English word you learn is an important victory. Every time you listen and understand, you are building your own power. Your quiet determination today will surely open the doors to your very own golden age. This is exactly why Storyline English is here. We want to walk beside you on this beautiful journey of discovery. If her brave heart inspired you today, please leave a friendly comment below. Tell us, what is the biggest challenge you are bravely fighting right now? Please subscribe to our channel so you never miss our next adventure. keep listening, keep believing in your strength, and keep moving forward. Your golden age is waiting for you.